Just a short video about an after-ride ice cream I like to make. The basis of ice cream obviously has to be, well, it can be anything, but for me, something to satisfy thirst after a 50-mile ride, being outside all day long. It has to be some kind of a fruit, and the fruit with the least amount of carbs and a lot of nutrition is berries. Frozen berries are a very easy way to access this. So during the summertime, especially when I get to go to farms, I do get fresh berries, but otherwise I just get the frozen kind. And berries contain a tiny bit of xylitol, which has been shown by more than one studies to reduce negative bacteria in the mouth. So it's just a good thing to get. The second ingredient is plain full fat yogurt. If it's not full fat, it's not the end of the world. You can add fats in other ways. And I typically add more fat to this because otherwise it's not going to taste like ice cream. The yogurt has protein in it, which I think is very important. You don't need to have protein in your ice cream, but if this is after a long ride and you are trying to replenish resources in the body, then I think adding protein is just a good idea. Don't get anything that already has sugar or vanilla or anything like that in it because that's low quality sugar and there are other ways of sweetening an ice cream. Most of the fat that I add to an ice cream is always going to come from coconut cream. Some of these cans are sold as coconut milk. It doesn't matter whether it says cream or milk. The best way to buy these is, unless you have a trusted brand that you can order directly over the internet, is to go to a supermarket or a grocery store that has a high turnover rate. And I'm very lucky to have one nearby. And you want to grab the can and shake it to see if it feels solid or liquid inside. If it's liquid, it's not very fatty, it's not gonna be good. It goes without saying that you don't want to get any kind of a low-fat product. You want the full-fat coconut milk or coconut cream. Ideally, at room temperature, it should be solid inside the can, and you should feel that. You really don't need to add any more fat if you want to be really healthy, but I just like to spoil myself and add a little bit of something extra, and mascarpone or real cream would be something I would consider. Not a lot. I'm adding a lot of the coconut fats because it has MCT oil and just beneficial micro ingredients. I can't say the same about mascarpone. Mascarpone is just fat, but it tastes so good. So you can add a bit of mascarpone or full fat whipping cream, organic if possible or local. And as you process it in the food processor, that's going to give extra volume to the whole thing. The sweetening is done mainly with low calorie or zero calorie sweeteners. The Truvia is a blend of monk fruit but also some erythritol or something else. And I have found that mixing various low-calorie sweeteners works better. The one on the left, xylitol, I only add a teaspoonful because xylitol lowers the negative bacteria in the mouth, as I already mentioned. And that's a good thing to do, but you cannot sweeten the ice cream just with xylitol because the quantity, if I add more than a teaspoonful, I'm going to end up in the toilet for the next hour. And you have been warned. Most people don't have the digestive system to digest that much xylitol. So xylitol is really more like a health conscious ingredient. It's not really used to sweeten anything. And then I add vanilla extract. This vanilla extract is my own making. It's incredible how much you can crank out of a bottle. This is a small bottle of Grey Goose vodka into which I inserted some vanilla beans that were slashed open lengthwise. And I've had this for nearly a year. And you can top it off with vodka or rum or whatever is your favorite. And it's just going to last and last. If you want to use the vanilla beans straight out of the plant, you can do that. That's like a really intense vanilla taste, but it's also really expensive. I think a small pack of vanilla beans is something like $10, whereas this bottle has been going for nearly a year, and I only add a little bit of liquor to add it to fill it up. And you can see on the color, the original vodka was a completely transparent color, and after having used several bottles of liquor in it, you still see that intense ink that's coming out of the vanilla beans. So I also think that this is a much more efficient way of extracting vanilla flavor from the plant using alcohol rather than just scraping the plant and getting the paste out of it. I'm an absolute believer of low quantity but regular alcohol consumption. There are quite a number of studies showing that people live longer if they consume low quantities of alcohol regularly. And I believe that the best way to have alcohol is to eat it, not to drink it. So I put a few drops into everything, desserts, especially ice cream in this case. The Bacardi is really a sort of medium low quality rum, not my favorite, but it's just so cheap. I bought this huge bottle. It's like 2 liters or something, and as you can see, I already consumed half of it in like 6 weeks, just putting it into dessert. So, highly recommended as an low grade additive to sweets. The ice cream is really easy to put together. I forgot to mention, and I also may add a little bit of salt just to get the juices flowing from the fruit. Not necessary, that's an optional thing. I use a regular food processor with the blade that you can see here. This is what all the ingredients look like as I pack them into the food processor. And the next image, you can see what it looks like when it's done. You can put that into the freezer for an hour or whatever to make it more, to have the texture of ice cream. I confess that especially after a long ride, I don't have the patience and I just gobble it right up. So it's up to you which way to go. It's very easy to put together. I would say the ingredients are not cheap because if you're getting high quality organic stuff, it's always going to cost some money. But the quality in general is just so much better than store bought, and you get plenty of it. So I consume this whole bucket of ice cream in one sitting, and I feel so much better when I'm done. Highly recommended.
I'll be back.